What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and news report for Friday, December 4th. Hopefully you had an incredible week and you will have an incredible weekend. Now, today is just 7 days away from the December 11th deadline for stimulus and the government's omnibus funding bill. 7 days, 1 week. That is how much time we have for Congress to come together and pass a stimulus package. Now, over the first part of this week, we learned of 3 different stimulus proposals, 2 of which are currently being compared to one another and negotiated. The last one, number 3, was Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's stimulus proposal, which is being said that it came in at $1.3 trillion. And pretty much Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer decided, you know what, let's throw it out. Let's start with the $908 billion stimulus proposal. We'll start there and we'll negotiate. Now, yesterday we learned that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they will be submitting a counteroffer of such probably today, or if not today, they did it last night, to Mitch McConnell. And they're going to submit this counteroffer not to Mitch McConnell's $600 billion stimulus package, his bill. They're going to submit a counteroffer to that $908 billion emergency relief framework. That's a proposal that was done by a group of 9 senators. And so the good news right now is that reports out this morning are indicating that there is a decent amount of wiggle room within that $908 billion stimulus proposal, that we could see, stimulus checks. We could see some additional stimulus put in there, depending on what Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer deem the most important pieces of legislation. Right now, there's not a lot of wiggle room, but right now what is being said is that there is a chance that stimulus checks could be added, but many Republicans, both from the House and the Senate, are saying that they don't fully support going up over $1 trillion. So right now that puts us about $100 billion away. Stimulus checks would require roughly $275 billion. So in order for stimulus checks to be added into this proposal, again, based off of reports this morning, in order to add stimulus checks, we would have to get rid of some other items. And I'm going to go over what those items are in just a second, so just bear with me. But yesterday, and I'm going to play a video for you in just a little bit as well, so that you understand really where we're at based on, kind of who's proposing these bills and kind of where everybody stands. Both Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi. Yesterday, we heard from Congressman Tom Reed, who's one of the co-chairs of the Problem Solvers Caucus. And he said the $908 billion package is the compromising point between both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. So based off of getting feedback from other senators and other representatives in the House, this was the number that they ultimately came down to, was that $908 billion, which is a far cry from Nancy Pelosi's $3.4 trillion package and her $2.2 or $2.4 trillion package. But it's also a step up slightly from Mitch McConnell's $500 billion package. Now, it obviously favors Mitch McConnell, but at the same time, we're just trying to get something done. That's the goal. So let's get something done, help the people that mostly need it, and then we'll come back for more later on. Now, what Tom Reed said is anything higher than $1 trillion might not get support from Republicans, but anything much lower would not get support from Democrats. And this has to be a bipartisan proposal. So this is where we're at. However, what so many people have noticed, and again, I already mentioned it, but what many people have noticed over the past few days is all these stimulus packages don't have stimulus checks. How could you call it a stimulus package without a stimulus check? Stimulus checks are considered the quickest and fastest way to provide stimulus to the American people and to the economy. Quickest and fastest. And they are also considered the most, kind of equitable. It's just a blanket stimulus that goes to everybody, and so it will prop up every industry in the economy. But when you only provide stimulus to businesses, what does that prop up? Businesses. When you only provide stimulus to, let's say, a restaurant, it only props up the restaurant industry, and it kind of trickles down from there. But what people are saying is we need stimulus checks. I agree with you, and so do many other congressmen and women. They agree stimulus checks are needed, but at this time, if we can't get it in this package, then it will have to be added later on. Now, in order to get a better idea of just how these two packages differ and what is in each one, I want you to look at them side by side. I kind of put a little diagram together so you can get a feel for what is there. So let's go over that right now. So here we go. Here is what is in it. First off, okay, I just want to be clear. Obviously, the emergency relief framework is what's in the black, and in the blue, that is what Mitch McConnell is proposing in his stimulus package. Now, I'm going to go over everything really quick, just kind of give you a brief overview. But state and local government, Mitch McConnell has 0. The COVID relief framework has 160 additional unemployment benefits. This one has 180 billion. Mitch McConnell has a 1-month extension, no boost. For small businesses, the PPP funding, Mitch McConnell has 332.7 billion, when this one has 288. For community lender support, this one has 12 billion. McConnell's has 0. Transportation, this one 45. McConnell's 0. Vaccine development and distribution, it's both at 16 billion. For healthcare provided relief funds for PPE and stuff like that, 35 billion for the emergency relief framework and 31 billion for Mitch McConnell's plan. Education, Mitch McConnell wants more. He wants 105 billion, so that's good there. There's no student loan relief in Mitch McConnell's bill. There's no housing relief or rental assistance. It's not included. There's 20 billion in Mitch McConnell's bill for agriculture or farm workers, but there's 0 for nutritional assistance. So that's a far cry from what this 9-senator group proposal has. Same for United States Postal Service, 5 billion instead of 10 for childcare, and the total pretty much comes out to $600 billion for Mitch McConnell's proposal, as opposed to 908 billion for the COVID emergency relief framework. So now that you know what's in both packages, if you have questions, you can always ask those down in the comment section below, or go back and watch some of my videos I did yesterday, and that'll give you a very good overview of what's really being talked about at this point. But now that you know what's in these packages, let's hear from Congressman Ted Reed and see what he has to say regarding where Mitch McConnell stands and where the $908 billion proposal fits into negotiations. So let's go ahead and watch this video right now.
If something is going to get done, Mitch McConnell has to agree to take it to a vote on the Senate floor. What's the biggest difference between the plan that you all are backing, this $908 billion plan, and the $500 billion plan that Senator McConnell has already had passed in the Senate?
Well, and I think where Senator McConnell also has moved to, I think the number now is at $600 billion is my understanding. And that's getting closer to $908 billion. And I think the one piece that we really have to finalize here is the state and local government piece. And, this is going to require bipartisan support. Mitch McConnell understands that. We understand that in the House, and the White House understands that, talking to all the players involved here. And when you look at what we put forward, $160 billion, you couple that with what we're talking about that's out there in the range of reason to get done, you're right at that $900 billion mark at the end of the day. And I'll just tell you, it's been working together, getting this taken care of. It's time to listen to the American people. And as Josh said, get it done. It's time to do it. Let's get it done before the holidays.
So as you can see, everybody understands there's a need for additional stimulus. It's just about how much and for what purposes. That's kind of where the negotiations are going to lie. And again, it depends on where Nancy Pelosi's at too. We still need to see where she's at with her counter proposal. Again, we haven't heard from her yet, so we're just kind of waiting on that. Hopefully it comes out today. The report yesterday was we will know within the next 24, possibly 48 hours. But most people were saying, most reports were saying today will be the day. So hopefully it is. Tom Reed stated earlier in the day yesterday that every hour we are gaining more momentum. My hope is we continue to gain more momentum throughout today and also throughout this weekend. So hopefully next week we can hit the ground running and we can pass a comprehensive stimulus package that hopefully includes stimulus checks. Right now, stimulus is needed more, even more than it was back in April. Without stimulus now, businesses are going to close for good. Families will go without food. The unemployed will dig themselves into a financial hole that they can't climb out of easily, and states will begin laying off tens of thousands of their employees. A good portion, just to give you an example, kind of what's going on, a good portion of California, okay? A good portion of California will be going back on its most restrictive lockdown since back in the spring if regional ICU capacity falls below 15%. Okay? This means there'll be no gyms, no salons, no indoor worship, no playgrounds, 20% capacity max at all retail locations, and all non-essential travel will become restricted. Now, all this will begin the day after, okay? Again, none of this is happening yet, but all this stuff that I just said, these restrictive lockdowns, will be put in effect one day after the regional ICU capacity falls below 15%. They're breaking California up into 5 different regions. Based on what Governor Gavin Newsom said the other day, he expects 4 out of the 5 regions will fall below the 15% rule within the next couple of weeks. He also said the first one could fall below that 15% capacity rule within the next couple of days. So by Monday, 1 or 2 of the regions in California would most likely be on the most restrictive lockdown we have seen yet. So I just wanted to mention this to you guys, and I wanted to mention California because California at this point is getting hit the hardest. And if more states start to see the same trend, then more states and their residents will be hurt without additional stimulus. This is one of the reasons why PPP funding, stimulus checks, unemployment, and state and local government funding are so important at this point. Many people in Congress can see what is happening, but they don't want to act yet due to the fact that we're in a lame duck session. And this is one of the reasons why Joe Biden stated whatever stimulus package gets passed now during this lame duck session is just going to be a down payment on what is to come next year. So that's at least some positive news regarding stimulus. I understand right now there's so many things out there that are just messed up. This, COVID, the people, dying. Obviously, vaccines still aren't here yet. We still haven't heard from the FDA if there's FDA approval. We don't know that yet. We know it's in the UK. That doesn't help us, right? And right now, many people in Congress understand that anything that gets passed right now is just going to be a bridge to get the American people to the later part of winter. That's going to be somewhere like February or March, and that's when they anticipate we will see the next stimulus package, and it will be most likely under Joe Biden, and we'll know that as of December 14th. But all reports right now state Joe Biden will be the next president, so it would be under the Biden administration. And that's kind of where signs are pointing that let's get something done now. Let's kind of build a bridge and get closer to the Biden administration, and then they can take over from there. I don't completely agree with that. I think we should pass as much as we can now and really provide stimulus to the American people. But I'm not a congressman. I'm not in the Senate. I'm not in the House. I'm not the president. I can't make those rules. I can't decide who and what goes where. So that's the problem. But in COVID-related news, this isn't great. This is not great news. But the United States reported yesterday that we saw 216,422 new COVID cases yesterday alone, and 2,857 deaths. This is according to Johns Hopkins University. The hospitalizations are still at a record rise. Experts predict the next week we will see the spike from Thanksgiving. This is going to cripple many hospitals around the country. The spike, what they're saying right now, experts and health experts are predicting the spike from Thanksgiving travel and Thanksgiving gatherings are going to cripple the healthcare system. So right now, just do what you can, stay safe, try to keep yourself, your family, your loved ones all safe, do whatever you can. Also, consider subscribing so that I can keep you updated on everything that's going on regarding stimulus. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.